This is my Malibu Barbie doll that I got for Christmas this year. She comes with a hairbrush, a pocketbook, and 2 different dresses.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 254. It is the third day of the week, aka the Spirit Bomb workout. I am feeling pretty good, very excited to get down and into the workout. But anyways, back to the main subject matter here for today, which is a continuation of yesterday's video. In a way, but not really, but in a way, which is no one cares. And that's great. That's the main subject matter for today. So the main reason why I wanted to talk about this, because this has actually been something in the back burner I've had for a while, was the fact that in my mind, there's 2 double-edged swords that you kind of go through in life, really. When you're young, hopefully, these are the hopefuls, right? In theory, these are the hopefuls. When you're young, too many people care. And that's good. That's good, the fact that too many people care. And then on the other side, no one cares. And then that's great. So both sides are just dependent on family discussions and all these other things. And I'm going to ignore the youthful side. This is more of a like when you're like an adult. So I'm going to go with like 18 being the cutoff, give or take. Obviously, things can change. But once you're at a certain age, people just stop caring. And that is something that is normal. Like the outside world just stops looking at you with a care in the world and they'll say, fuck off, really. And this is great. And I'll go into the reasons as to why it's a double-edged sword, because there are some downsides to it, obviously. But it is just a general fact that most of the time, people are so into their own life that they don't necessarily care about the other people. Now, there are some exceptions, which we'll get into the exceptions, of course, as well. But it is interesting to have that mindset and remind yourself of the fact that no one really cares. And I think that that is not necessarily a cheat code, but you'd understand more so that you can do more things that you want in the world, because realistically, you're not a blip in other people's radar, realistically. We'll talk more about that, how to use it to your advantage, and the other mindset that comes with that, because it is great in theory. It can be crushing depending on who you are, because sometimes some people do need others. But we'll talk more about that when we get into Mother Base.
All right, so started this day off with the AD press, which was pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter. No one cares, and it's great. So the main reason why I wanted to talk about this was because after the age of 18, give or take, a few things happen, depending, of course, but mostly everybody in the world kind of just stops caring. You have to figure out everything after that. Now, there are some people that do care, and we'll get back to that in a second. But most of the regular outside world stops. They give no fucks about you. And that's great, because that means you can kind of do whatever you want within law, of course. But even then, not necessarily, but we'll talk about that in a different episode. But still, it is something that you can just kind of do your own thing. You can go around and realistically kind of just record or just be yourself, and no one really cares. And it's great, because once you realize that, a lot of like social interactions outside become way less weird, way less, quote, awkward, quote, end quote, and things like that. You can end up being more in tune with your own self when you realize that nobody's really looking that deep into your life, really. They really don't care, honestly. People might snoop for like what is all of 5 minutes in your life, but they honestly don't care. They won't even think twice. They might think of you as a footnote or something funny as an inside joke if they hear something that you do or see you doing something. But realistically, they don't care. You're just known as either X, Y, or stranger. That's it. That's all you have to worry about. Now, there are some people that should be on your side in this case, such as like your parents, family, friends, those people. If they don't care, then you have an issue, but they are people that in theory should be caring. Obviously, there are special cases in each point. Obviously, there are some friends that are better than they're very, very good friends. There are some friends that are periphery, some friends that are not so much actually friends. There are your parents that might be very supportive, and then your parents that might not be supportive at all, kick you out at 18 exactly. or the parents that aren't even there. Well, it all just depends, really. That's the luck of the draw. But realistically, they should be the people that should care for you. And if something happens to you, the people that come to you to make sure that you're all right are usually the ones that you should probably keep around in your life. And those who don't, well, it depends on what's happening. They might be busy, but you should probably get rid of them in theory. But that's kind of a different subject. But for this, the reason why I wanted to talk about it was because once you realize that people do not care, once you are at a certain age that the outside world kind of doesn't care about you, you have to kind of make people care. And that's the tough part, because that's what part of social media is. You kind of have to make strangers care about you in some weird shape, way, or fashion, which is cool in the sense that if you do it enough and you're good at it, you can have a bunch of people follow you and then you can make money off of it. But in the other way around, it is hard to do it because you're just another Joe Schmo, really. So it's like a double-edged sword in that case. So if you want to gain some notoriety and popularity for doing something like this channel or something that is your own thing on social media, you have to make people care. And making people care is a very, very tough challenge, especially nowadays where you can find anything, anybody, anywhere, at any time, at any code really, or any language at this point, because of the ubiquity of social media and everything. So you have to kind of wonder what you bring to the table versus anybody else. So it is something that is difficult. But if you are somebody that does not care about doing something like this or being any notoriety outside of this, you're set. You don't have to worry about anybody being in your life, really. Nobody really cares. You can do whatever. You can be a silly Billy anywhere that you would like to be, because more likely than not, nobody cares. As long as you're minding your own business, no one cares. And that's great. Just think about it like that, and then you're good to go. You're set. You are more likely to succeed in things because you are more confident in the fact that once somebody looks at you, they have a small thought, and then it goes away, and you're just good to go. There's nothing really to worry about.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed. None. Exercises skipped. Also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter. No one cares, and that's great. The main reason why I wanted to talk about this was because, one, it had been the back burner for a while. It was something that I was going to talk about anyway. But two, it is a weird, nice thing to have in a weird way, because now if you ever really think about the way that others will, quote, judge you, quote, in society and or do your decisions. Obviously, if there are things that you're doing that are going to hurt people, don't do them. But if they are generally, if you are too self-conscious to do things that nobody really will notice, no one's really going to notice. You know, like you can just do kind of whatever because people don't really care. You can be weird and record yourself wherever that is legally recordable. You know, don't record anything weird, obviously, but you can just go do stuff and realistically people will be like, oh, okay, and that's it. You'll be a footnote at maximum in somebody else's day, realistically. You won't necessarily be that intertwined into somebody else's life. No one will really care after the 1 second thought that they'll give you when they look at you and be like, oh. If you really want to like explore this idea, try to think of like 10 people you may have seen in public today. And if you haven't seen anybody in public, think of 10 Instagram reels or short form videos that you watched today. And do you remember 10 of them? No, probably not. You probably don't remember any of the faces on there as well. Why? Because people just don't remember things like that anymore, and also don't really care. So people are so absorbed into their own life that they don't really necessarily pay attention to anybody else. If you ever tried to watch people, like just people watch in places, it's very interesting because you can really see like a picture into the life of a person. It's very subtle, but you can see a lot in there if you ever do it. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. It can be interesting, but it also can be something where you're a little too snoopy. But still, you can see a lot of people are just living their own life, really. So it helps a lot when you have that idea in your brain where you don't care or nobody around you cares, so you could just do whatever you want. The judgment that you may be feeling is just a weird self-doubt that's happening and externalizing itself as others. Now, there might be others that might say that they care what you're doing and what they might try to put you down, but depending on what they are or who they are, they might always have a pattern of doing that. So thus they've always wanted to see you below them. That's one. Or two, the people that want to keep you down, bucket of crabs mentality. We'll talk about that on a different episode. But other people that do care for you will try to support you and try to make sure that you're staying the straight and narrow. That will tell you no, but they will also tell you yes. You have to keep those types of people around you as well. You don't want to surround yourself with only yes men, and you don't want to surround yourself with only no men. You want to do a nice healthy combination. A good friend or a good family member should be able to tell you both. So that is how that works. But realistically, though, most public people, most people that are strangers, don't really care. You kind of have to make them care. And that kind of is a different episode for a different day. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one was more of a random one, but a continuation from yesterday. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please stay safe out there, stay warm, keep it heavy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!